So hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name's Katie and today I'm going to be talking through some books to read if you like Avatar: The Last Airbender. So Avatar: The Last Airbender is like my all-time favourite TV show. I just love it so much. I love Aang and Katara and all the gang. So I want to kind of start a series on this channel where I sort of talk about books to read if you like certain TV shows, because I think that's a really good way, especially if you're not that into reading, to find out what kind of books you like, because you kind of tend to like similar things in media. So I wanted to start with Avatar because who doesn't love Avatar? There's so much in that series that you can kind of take away from it. There's so many good messages, such great characters, and there's kind of just that feeling that you get. It's kind of nostalgic and really kind of heartwarming. So the first book I'm going to recommend is actually kind of part of the Avatar canon, which is The Rise of Kyoshi. So this follows Avatar Kyoshi, who doesn't really have much of a role in the series. She's kind of in a couple of episodes. But this book actually follows her kind of origin story almost. She doesn't know she's the Avatar, so I think both Aang and Korra, who in the series, they sort of know from the beginning that they're the Avatars, but in this world they actually think it's someone else. It's kind of Kyoshi learning her powers, and also it kind of turns into a bit of like a, not a heist story, yeah, kind of a heist story. It's kind of similar to Mistborn a bit. And also I love the relationship between Kyoshi and her bodyguard Ranji. They kind of start a relationship, and yeah, so that's really awesome as well. So that's that one. So this obviously reminds me of Avatar: The Last Airbender because it's the same world. So you have the bending and all the animals and stuff, the lion turtles and whatnot. So I'd highly recommend this one if you like Avatar and you haven't read it. It's kind of hard to find in the UK. I think you can get it on Book Depository. I got it when I was in Canada, so they had it in the bookshop there, which was cool. But I've never seen this in Waterstones or anything, but yeah, it's definitely worth reading if you like Avatar. So next is Steel Crow Saga by Paul Kruger. So this is a really good fantasy. It's like Avatar: The Last Airbender meets Pokemon. So it follows 4 characters in this kind of world. It's like an Asian inspired fantasy. There's a war going on, and there's various, so it follows the prince, and there's a guard and a detective person, and also a kind of street ratty character, like a bit of a thief. Characters kind of come together and unite to try and take down a big bad, but it's a bit of like a kind of travelling story. There's a scene on a train which I really like, and so that's kind of similar to Avatar in that way, kind of teaming up to fight a big bad. And their characters, they have these little like animals that attach to them. Can't remember quite what they're called, but they can like summon them, and they get powers from that, which is really cool. So this is such a fun read. It's like a really fun fantasy, and there's a female romance, which is always awesome as well. So it's definitely worth giving this one. And I think one of the couples as well, so there's 2 couples, is kind of like a Zuko and Katara romance. So if you like them, then you might like this one. So next is The Never Tilting World by Rinch Pecco. So I really love this one. This also on a romance terms, this has like a Ravenclaw Hufflepuff and a Gryffindor Slytherin, so they're the 2 relationships, and they're just the perfect dynamics. And this one also has a female romance, but this is kind of world where it's like split in half, so there's like the cold half and the hot half. And there's 2 characters in this half and then 2 characters in this half. They do come together at the end, but it's mostly separate. And the magic system is pretty elemental as well, which is kind of the similarity to Avatar. So the characters are all really great in this one as well. And it also kind of reminds me of Frozen, which is kind of weird, but it's kind of 2 princesses from the different, so from the like cold half and the hot half. So they are actually sisters, but they've never met each other. They were kind of separated at birth. And one of them kind of reminds me of Elsa, and one of them kind of reminds me of Anna. And also one of the relationships kind of reminds me of Anna and Kristoff as well. And one of the characters in this one is just so similar to me, so that I really love that one as well. So Heidi, she's kind of like, she's a bit of a Ravenclaw really, which is why I am. So this one's really good as well. I don't think Rinch Pecco's writing is for everyone, because I've seen some mixed reviews. I think this one is generally like the most well praised of her books, but I actually really like them all. But I think if you read her writing before and you like it, you'll definitely love this one. But if you haven't, I'd say give it a try. They can be a little confusing at first, but I would say if you just kind of give the first like 50 pages or something a bit of a grace period, I think you'll still really enjoy it. But yeah, so that is this one. And then next I have one of my favorite series. It's not my all-time favorite, but I really love it, especially the audiobooks. And that is Furies of Calderon by Jim Butcher. So this one follows Tavi. So in this world you have Furies, so people kind of bind Furies, and there's different Furies. So there's like earth, air, fire and water basically, which is kind of the similarity to Avatar. It's also a bit Pokemon-y as well because of the Furies. But yeah, so this one follows Tavi, who is like a little shepherd boy, and he doesn't have any powers actually, so he's kind of struggling with that, but he sort of saves the world anyway basically. So yeah, so the first one, they're kind of trying to stop this like enemy force from invading the valley where they live, and then it kind of builds from there. It's also kind of ancient Rome inspired. So there's a lot of stuff with that, and Tavi is like one of my all-time favorite protagonists. Like he's up there with Kaladin. But yeah, he's really like, he's such a sweetheart, but he's also quite like as he grows throughout the books, so like by the final book you're just so proud of him. And his love interest as well, Katai, is really awesome. She's so like badass. And yeah, so I really love this one. The audiobooks as well are amazing. I'm not sure if I already mentioned that, but yeah, they're narrated by Kate Redding, who does the Stormlight ones and also the Wheel of Time. So yeah, they're really good. So I'd highly recommend them. I had this one in like physical copy, but then all the rest I have on audio. So yeah. And then finally I have a middle grade, because it kind of, when you watch, I feel like middle grade and Avatar, the TV show as well, they're all quite nostalgic when you read them. So that is Frostheart by Jamie Littler. So this one is kind of similar to Avatar in where you have like the kind of dorky main character who's also really sweet, and then you have this like little friend who's a bit kind of like Katara, who's kind of a bit sassy, and so yeah, so this, and also this one, like they go on a little ship journey. So Ash discovers he has powers, and then that's Ash. He discovers he has powers, and then he joins this ship called the Frostheart, and they kind of go and explore the world that way. So it's kind of similar to Avatar in that regard, but they're like, especially in the first season, book one, book one of Avatar, not book one of this, where they're kind of just exploring the world. And it just gives you that kind of like heartwarming vibe that you get from Avatar, and also it's kind of a wintry setting, so it's a bit similar to the Water Tribes as well. The magic system is a little bit different from Avatar because it's kind of based on singing, but it's also really cool actually. So yeah, I would highly recommend this one. So I wanted to mention Darker Shade of Magic, which is by B. Schwab. I have them on my Kindle, so I'll just put a picture in here. So the magic system in that one is quite elemental as well. And also it's basically, you have 4 Londons, so the main character Cal can kind of travel between them, and he basically gets illegal magical objects and kind of smuggles it through, so that causes some problems. So that's kind of what you're following in that series. You're following like a gang of characters as well, which is kind of similar to Avatar. But yeah, that's a really good series as well. And the series finale, Conjuring of Light, is one of the best series finales. It's so good. Final series that I wanted to mention is The Witchlands by Susan Dennard. So I'll put a picture as well because I also have that on my Kindle. So that follows Safi and Isil, and they're kind of thread sisters. So they're not actually sisters, they're just best friends. But you have these thread bonds to people in that series. So you got like heart threads, I think, which is like your lover, and then thread sister, who's like just kind of when you like, we have a soul sister, and it's just kind of following their adventures in the series, and it becomes like a massive, especially in the later books like Blood Witch, which is the most recent book that's out, it just kind of becomes a massive world. There's so much going on. There's Isil and her kind of love interest is also a bit of a Zuko Katara thing going on. And yeah, and also I think Susan Dennard is also, who's the author, is a big fan of Avatar, and in one of the books there's a scene where they go past this cabbage man, which is really funny if you've watched the show. So yeah, so that is a really good series, and it's just kind of like a sisterhood, and the magic system is very elemental as well. you have all these different witches. So you have like wind witches and truth witches. Well, truth witches, that's not really similar to Avatar, but like wind witches and fire witches and whatnot, they're kind of all Avatar-y as well. So yeah, so that wraps up all my recommendations for books to read if you like Avatar: The Last Airbender. If you have any books that you think I would like based on liking Avatar, or if you read any of these ones, do leave a comment down below because I'd love to hear from you. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like and consider subscribing if you haven't already. So thank you for watching and goodbye.